What is good, y'all? What's up? It's Jordan of Texas Loss. We're back with another post-game stream. Oh, baby, this is going to be a tough one to get through. Probably going to cut it shorter than I usually do. But god damn. Was that the worst loss in Texans history? 40-0? That's all I'm seeing on Twitter right now, man. Everyone's saying it's the worst loss ever. Why won't it show my screen? That's not anything. There you go. Boy, Matt says this 40-point loss was the Texans' worst loss in franchise history, eclipsing the 45-7 loss they had against Jacksonville. Hey, at least we didn't lose against the Jags this year. For all the people clamoring about Davis Mills' great quarterback rating after his first game, he had 23.4 today. 23. Trying to be MJ out here. He was not MJ on the field, man. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Worst playing ever. Damn you, Mills. No bueno. Not the first build that destroyed the Texans. Mills ain't ready. No way. Depression. That's probably the worst loss ever. I feel you. Joshua Stanley says, how do we get people to stop pushing Mills as a viable starter? I've been trying to say this since he's been drafted, but I also wanted to keep a level head because if I talk bad about a player, y'all call me a hater. So I tried to be level headed on Mills. But he hasn't given us anything to feel optimistic about. Not one thing. And I get the complaints, oh, they were too conservative in their play calling. That's been kind of the scapegoat for Mills so far. Hell yeah, they're going to be conservative when he's doing this when they let him throw the ball. On the non-screens, on the actual dropbacks that weren't screens, this man shit the bed. What is it, 4 interceptions? Ran into multiple sacks, was slow to read the field. I mean, he's just not showing the flashes that you see from the other first-round quarterbacks who are making mistakes, are throwing interceptions, but they're also making wild flash plays, 50-yard touchdowns. Zach Wilson and Justin Fields had great games today. Trevor Lawrence looked a lot better on Thursday Night Football versus the Bengals. And we don't see that out of Mills. So I don't want to hear that he can be a potential starter for the Texans. I don't want to hear that he would have went in the first round if he was drafted this year. He hasn't proved it. And he hasn't been given a lot of help either, but neither has Fields. Neither has Lawrence. Neither has Wilson. They've all been in shitty offensive systems. They've all had shitty offensive lines. And they've shown more. They've shown why they were first-round picks and why Davis Mills was a third-round pick and probably shouldn't have even been a third-round pick. We all knew Mills wasn't ready. That's what Jay says. He shouldn't have been in this position to have to start. He shouldn't have been. Tank twice for Bryce. Matt says score-wise probably worst loss ever, but it would have to go a long way to beat the Chiefs loss. That's my what I'm trying to preach overall in this stream is that thank you, Joshua, for that. I appreciate the $5. I'm just going to keep it real with y'all. That's my thoughts on Mills, man. I'm sorry if I got too heated. I don't want the kid to fail or anything, but he's the same guy we've seen in college. He hasn't taken a step yet, and it's so early to expect him to take a step. So, but yeah, that's my overall, Maddie, those are my overall thoughts on, the game. And what I want to preach is that this game doesn't matter. This game doesn't matter. It's why I don't care. Is it her worst Texans loss in history? Sure. I don't really care because this is a rebuilding team. We weren't going to beat the Bills who are going to contend for the Super Bowl. We just realistically weren't, especially with Tyrod Taylor out. Now, was I expecting 40-0? No. But I don't really care that we lost. Obviously, it hurts, but I was kind of numb to it after the second quarter. All right? It's a long season. It's going to be a long rebuild, but it's draft season. And we can get excited about draft picks. We can get excited about a different quarterback, about maybe Kayvon Thibodeau, Derek Stingley, Kyle Hamilton. A lot of guys in this class that are really, really fun and can help build up this team and set the foundation for the future and the rebuild. Because we don't got a lot of guys on this team right now that can do that. For sure. This game proved it, man. Let the tank bowl begin. Us versus the Jets versus the Jags, probably. Matthew says, who's a quarterback we can pick off the street to make a difference? I mean, Cam Newton's been sitting there. If we want to be competitive in these next 2 games, I believe that Tyrod's still injured for, versus the Pats and versus the Colts. Cam's sitting right there. Apart from that, it's slim pickings, man. It's slim pickings. Amazing rant on how terrible he is. Thank you, Quinn. I appreciate that. Noah, clip that shit for your boy. Who's their other backup? Jeff Driscoll. If we think, and he is, Mills is bad, we do not want to see Jeff Driscoll out there. We do not. He's even worse, man. Oof. He got better wheels, but I mean, he's even worse at throwing the ball. Cully's starting to sound like Bill O'Brien, saying it's on him and he needs to coach better. That's the thing, is every coach is going to say that. Every coach is going to say, oh, you know what? I gotta game plan better. I gotta coach these guys up better. It's my fault. Because as a head coach, you're the leader of the team. So you have to take responsibility. Whether it's rightfully your fault or not, and I don't think he was blameless, Cully, but you have to say that. And so when Bill O'Brien said those things and got ripped for it, it was annoying to hear, no doubt. I bitched about it too, but that's what he's supposed to say. That's what every coach is going to say in that position. RG3 and Ingram running game will be good. Hey, RG3, I'd be happy with RG3. Bring him in. That'd be something. One thing that I really believe in is that this offense, it needs a quarterback who can extend the play with his legs and be accurate on the move. We saw that with Tyrod Taylor. When he was in the offense, this team was still running 25 plus times a game. They were still throwing screen passes. They were still doing the quick game stuff and not throwing it too much, not throwing it deep too much. If you think about it, what were the deep passes that Tyrod Taylor completed when he was a starter and he was lighting it up? It was when he extended the play, scrambled away from pressure, and then hit Brandon Cooks deep down the field. That's not something you can scheme up for the offense. That's pure talent. And so that's why there's been such a big gap with Tyrod and Mills. That's one of the reasons, man. We're missing those big plays. We're missing so much. We're missing be able to extend the play because the offensive line pass protection has not lived up to the expectations. And it hurts for me to say, being such a big fan of Tunsil, being such a big fan of Titus as I am. But that's another rant for another day. I can't even get into Cannon at right tackle right now. If you guys watched him in this game, he was responsible for one of the sacks and multiple pressures. Man. Willie Boy P says, for the first time ever, I hope the Watson rumors can overshadow this performance. Appreciate you being a member for 9 months, my guy. The support has been real. That is amazing to see, my guy. Appreciate you very much. Man. Please needed to get rid of Watson. He's just taking up a roster spot at this point. Hey, the Dolphins got blown out today, didn't they? Didn't the Dolphins get blown out today? You gotta trade for him. Who's their GM? Chris Greer or something like that? Nick, get on the phone, man. Get on the phone. Oh, man. Let me read some more comments. Mike Anderson says, the Texans at one time had McVay, LaFleur, Shanahan on the staff during Kubiak's tenure, but we didn't interview any of them. It all goes back to ownership, really. Cal is not fit for this job. I don't think the McNairs have ever really been too fit for this job. Watson assaulted 22 people. Yeah, KM. He's he did nothing wrong on the football field, but it's his actions off the football field which don't look too pretty. Tyrod Taylor over Lamar Jackson. I love the confidence, Dan. He was balling out, man. Yeah, Cannon isn't good. Oh my god. And they want to play his ass at right tackle and move Titus inside to guard. And what's going to happen with that is you're going to piss off Titus and you're going to piss off his agent. Because this is a developmental tackle out of Alabama State who came into the league and they knew that he was raw. And what you should have done is just let him play his natural position that he's played in college. Be a more comfortable development, be easier, and help him out, and lead to better success in the long term. You know, don't make things too complicated for him. But not only did they move him from tackle to guard, they moved him to the opposite side. And anyone who's played offensive line knows that's a lot harder than it seems. So they started with that, moved him to the other side, moved him to guard, and they moved him back to tackle later in the year. Now you move him back to guard. What is the point, man? What is the point? It's just mismanagement of development of a very basic thing, playing players in the positions that they're best at. Titus Howard is a much better right tackle than he is at left guard. And if Titus is going to see that this mismanagement is happening over two coaching staffs, the Bill O'Brien coaching staff and the David Culley coaching staff, the Mike Devlin offensive line coach and the James Campen offensive line coach, if you're Titus, you're thinking, this franchise just doesn't know how to use me right. Why should I stay here? Why should I stay on this sorry-ass franchise that can't use me right? Why shouldn't I go to another team that wants to play me at right tackle and will pay me like a right tackle, not a left guard? This man shut down TJ Watt, Matt Judon, Yannick Ngakoue. He did well against Myles Garrett. Last year I'm talking about. And you want to move his ass to left guard for Marcus Cannon, who's getting beaten up by the Bills' backups? Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. Going from right tackle to left guard is not easy. First off, positions and stretching on stretch and pulls and tackles over plays are just so confusing. It's too much. It's too much. I know they're all technically offensive line, one position, but they're not. They're all so different. You're absolutely right, Quinn. And it's annoying too because the strengths and the weaknesses of Titus that he showed at tackle, they work better at tackle than they work at guard. Like, he's a very good pass protector at tackle because he can use his athleticism, you can use his length, but he doesn't play with good pad level. And so that really hurts him in the run game. And so you move him into guard. Typically when guys move from tackle to guard, it's to hide them in pass pro. But Titus didn't need that. And if you're going to move to guard, you need to have low pad level to run block. And their whole thing, they moved him to the left side so they can improve the run game. Run game has been ass. He's been bad at run blocking. The entire offensive line has been bad at run blocking. Tunsil doesn't care. He's soft. Titus doesn't play with good enough pad level. Britt has no awareness, no push. Max Sharping's still weak. Marcus Cannon has maybe been the best run blocker. And that's saying something. That is bad when Marcus Cannon is your best run blocker. It's like making a righty bat left in baseball. Exactly, man. We got a Bills fan in here. What's up, Ray Lopez? I'm obviously pumped as a Bills fan, but seriously, I do feel bad for you guys. And I really don't think McDermott was running up the score. This game probably could have been a lot. Oh, they could have hung 50 on us. They brought in Mitch Trubisky. And we still couldn't stop him. Appreciate the love, Bills fans. If you're watching, appreciate the love on the last video. You guys have been very, very considerate, very reserved in the comment sections. I thought you guys were going to be talking mad shit, but I appreciate that, man. Good luck versus the Chiefs. Wait, we have run blockers? No. When I even say that Cannon is probably our best run blocker, you know, I should not have said that. It's probably Britt. Britt's been the only one with like a passing grade in that area. It's been horrible, man. It's been horrible. Mills he's scary. You know what was funny is the one thing on Mills is that people were like, oh, he's a tough guy. He gets up after the sacks. He gets up after the interceptions. And he keeps playing. Have you ever seen a quarterback take a sack, take an interception, and just take himself out of the game? Of course he's going to keep playing. That's the only option he has. Right? So I never understood that argument for Mills. And the other argument is, oh, he learned from his mistakes. He'll throw an interception and then he won't do it again. Not one. Not two. Not three. 4 of them things. 4 of them things, man. I don't remember the first one. I remember the second one. Was it the second one was the deep ball to Miller? He underthrew. That's his fault. The second one, I think, was the batted pass by the linebacker. I would put it more on the linebacker making a good play, but also when you're throwing over the middle of the field, you have to be aware of your throwing lanes. You have to know when to use a little touch and when to use velocity. So maybe 70-30, linebacker Mills. What was the third one? I can't remember another one. I know the last one was the throw underneath to Pharaoh Brown. Pharaoh Brown was running to his right, and Mills hit him a little bit more to the left. He had to come back across his body. He dropped it. I'd say that's like 70% on Mills, 30% on Brown. It's a catchable pass, hit him on the hands, but I mean, when you're running in one direction, you never want to have to turn back the opposite direction. I can't remember the last pick, man, but forget what your PE coach told you. If you get back up but you stink, you're not good and you should stop trying. Quinn's hilarious. Oh my god. Yeah, man. I think people are out of excuses for Mills today, man. I think they really are. You can blame the play calling all you want, but when they let him drop back, it was even worse than when they made him throw screens. It was even worse. First interception was on Mills. The first one was the freaking one over the middle of the field right into Tremaine Edmonds' hands. He just never saw him covering Miller underneath. It was a tight window throw over the middle of the field. That was ugly. Yeah, I'm hilarious. I've completely forgotten what I was planning to do. I'm going to get Ryan and Jay in here, my boys, my Texans Thoughts team leaders. They are in the stream now. If you guys want to join the team and be able to call into the stream and talk your talk, maybe you think I'm wrong in an area, that's completely fine. I implore you to come on and we'll talk ball. Join the team. There's a membership on my channel where you can, pay a monthly subscription. Get exclusive content, you get into our exclusive Discord. The Discord's fire is always popping off. We're doing fantasy football leagues, and if you do the highest tier, you get to call into the stream, man, and talk your piece. So I'm going to talk to two guys, Ryan and Jay, that have been longtime supporters, and I appreciate them. So let's get on to it. If you want to join the thing, let me show you how to do it, because I always don't show y'all how to do it, and I didn't put a link in the stream this time because I'm a dumbass. If you go to my channel, of course it doesn't show it here. Oh yeah, no, here, the join button. But if you go to my channel, it only works on PC. It doesn't work on mobile, so I'm sorry, mobile users. But if you go to PC, there'll be a little join button. You hit that join button, boom. 2 tiers right here to join. Alrighty, that's that. Let me get back to this. Let me get my boys, Ryan and Jay, in the building. How do I do that? Here we go. Call and stream. Alrighty.
Definitely not too different. Oh, hey, what's up, Jordan?
What is up, Ryan? What's up, Jay? Oh man, I wish I was talking to y'all on better circumstances, but how you guys doing?
It's okay. Hey, the Tits are about to lose to the Jets.
Let's go. They're about to lose to the Jets? Oh, that's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. Man. We'll start with Jay. Were there any what's if you have one positive takeaway today? Try and lift up our spirits, Jay. What would you give us?
For 3 quarters, the defense stopped the Bills from scoring touchdowns.
Yup.
That's what I have to say. They punched the ball out. They forced miscues on the offense. And it looks like our team plays pretty clean on defense, except for Lonnie, who acts like a fool.
God, man. Yeah, I think the defense definitely, I don't think they gave up until probably the Mitch Trubisky drive, but they played pretty hard. They clamped down in the red zone, which is very impressive versus this Bills top 5 offense, and Brian Daboll, who, I mean, you guys know how I love Brian Daboll. He's one of the best offensive minds in the game, and he specializes in the red zone. So the way that they were able to clamp up for 3 quarters, like Jay said, very, very impressive to me. I would have to agree with you, Jay. Ryan, one positive takeaway. What you got for us?
Mine was back in the first quarter because it was really just the first drive that I saw, but we were disguising the coverage pre-snap and post-snap.
Yeah, I was noticing we played a lot more single high safety. We were bringing Jay Reed down into the box.
I think we should have kept someone else in the box just because of skill set. But
Lonnie.
We might be dealing with some player attitude problems with that, or also just not training him anymore for that and not wanting him to fall back into old habits.
Yeah, that's the tough thing, man. I just went on my rant about mismanaging Titus Howard in his position, and Lonnie Johnson is the exact epitome of that. I mean, moving from cornerback to safety just too early in my opinion, and then now I think they're training him at the wrong safety position. Now maybe
Oh yeah.
like you said, that's on Lonnie for being hard headed. I don't think it really would be, but I have no knowledge on that.
Well, my point. I was just saying that because we saw how he got emotional with
Yeah, that's fair.
being tackled.
Yeah, I think honestly that like obviously it's a bad football play in the moment, but that's who Lonnie is. He's a feisty dude. He's a bit of a hot-headed dude. He's a passionate dude, and he's the type of dude that, hey, we're getting whooped 30-0 right now. Like I'm pissed off. This guy just throws me out of bounds. I'm gonna push him back. As a football coach, you would have to hate that because you're hurting your team. But as someone who admires football players and the talent that they have, I like that passion out of Lonnie. It was
Yeah, but
obviously a
we've
bad
all
play,
seen
but
Lonnie's always been the emotional guy. So like,
yeah,
I think if I were him, I'd probably be pissed the fuck off if I was told to be training at free safety,
exactly.
and
He
now they want to use me as a strong safety. Like I'd be pissed off too.
It's so frustrating because we've seen that Jay Reed is a better free safety than he is strong safety. Jay Reed played strong safety all of last year, and he had a bit of a down year, and he was dealing with some injuries, but that's not who he is. He's a cover guy. He's a ball hawk. He's going to take advantage of errant throws, like the pick he had versus Baker Mayfield today. He makes
I
quick
will say,
decisions. Like
yeah, Jay Reid also looked pretty good as a strong safety today.
he can do it both. He can do both for sure, but I just think he's better at free, and I think Lonnie's better at strong because Lonnie's not that guy in coverage. That first touchdown to Dawson Knox, he was in single high. Knox was doing a crosser to the left side of the field.
That
Lonnie
was
came
long.
screaming down, and it
That
was just
pass off was horrible.
horrible, just way out of position. I'm like, what are you doing? He's just not that natural guy in coverage, in zone coverage. He doesn't have the instincts and the recognition for it. But what he is he's an athlete. He's got good size, good length, good straight line speed. And so,
Basically, he's a linebacker.
yeah, he's got the physicality, he's got the dog, he's got that passion that we just talked about. And it would be a lot better at box safety. Man up versus tight ends, play the run, just be physical, let your energy be felt on the field. But when he's 30, 45, 50 yards away from the ball, so damn deep down the field, he can't impact nothing. Frustrating,
Keeping
man.
everything in front of him.
Say that again, sorry, Ren.
He's keeping everything in front of him, all the goddamn soft zones. And notice our red zone defense clamped up when we stopped playing soft zones.
Yeah, because then you're actually pressing up against the guy. You're actually challenging them. You're not just giving them easy underneath stuff. I mean, it looks like Romeo Crennel's defense all over again.
And like, I think that was something we put in the Discord today. So if you don't already, like and subscribe. You'll get most of these thoughts probably during the game too.
Yep.
Where we're saying what the hell is this coverage and going through what the soft zone actually is and what that means for our defense. Because it's a flawed philosophy of if you keep everything in front of you, you can attack it. But what you're really doing is if I give a wide receiver 10 yards, okay, the quarterback, make a great throw now. You have 10 yards of open. How the hell do you mess that up?
And you can't do that against Josh Allen. Like, you want to do that against, I don't know, Jacoby Brissett, rookie Trevor Lawrence on his first game ever, fine. I get it. But Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, like, those aren't the type of guys that you can just let them, that you sit back and just let them carve you up. They've done it game after game after game, and Lovie Smith has to change his ways. It's frustrating to see. Jay, you got any other thoughts? Anything else you want to get off your chest?
Davis Mills is who we thought he is.
Yep.
A third round QB with no real experience. I'm gonna say he played bad, but the entire offense played bad. Besides David Johnson, maybe.
Johnson and Cooks, yeah, probably.
Cooks as well, but he really wasn't open. They just bracketed him all game. I have to say also Tim Kelly, he's gotta get some finger pointing at him. At some point you gotta realize, quit running the ball up the middle.
Yeah.
They're just stacking the box. And the only time you've gotten good runs has been
David
on a
Johnson.
draw. David Johnson on a draw play, Mark Ingram when he ran up the left side, and there was a big wide open hole for him, so he ran for 10 yards. Quit running Philip Lindsay up the middle because it's not worked all year. Run him to the outside, and then tell him to cut once he sees an opening because he, for some reason, hasn't done that. Like, we're just not using anybody correctly. And then why didn't we chip? The entire game, we didn't chip with a single running back. Not a single tight end chipped, like, the entire game. And then my final thought before I stop my talking. The refs have been trash. I know this is going to sound like a common thing, but they have been trash. There have been some missed holds, missed pass interference against Conley in the second drive when if he hits him, it's, right, we're first and goal, right? We're not getting calls for us at all, but we're getting called a lot against us, and that's no good. Somebody's got to bring that up because that's been bad lately. We've been getting a lot of penalties against us and no penalties for us.
Absolutely. I think that's the most seen in the holding, like you said. Like, our offense line was constantly getting called for it, but the Bills were holding Malik Collins all day long. And I'm never going to be a guy to blame the refs on a game where we lost by 40 points.
But it would have been nice,
It would have for sure, because those penalties, like Jay said, is what put Davis Mills in a tougher situation where the entire offense is not playing well. It's not just Mills, it's everyone out there. The entire collective unit looked like hot trash, and they kept shooting themselves in the foot. So I think, Jay, you're right. Tim Kelly should not go blameless whatsoever. He has to understand how to use his personnel better in the run game. I think he's pretty good at it in the passing game, but in the running game, this man is just a little bit lost. Like you said, running Philip Lindsay up the middle. We know that he's a outside zone guy, and if he's not going to do outside zone, you have to have like a puller for him so that he can follow the puller and get to the edge of the run. That's the other thing that he showed he could do with the Broncos. But he's not a gap runner where you want to design the run to go up the A gap and run behind Justin Britt, and he's going to push the pile and fall forward like Mark Ingram. That's not who Lindsay is. And so I think he ended the day with negative yardage. Not what you want to see. I think Tim Kelly, I called him Tim Jelly earlier in the season versus the Jags and in the first half of the Browns game, because he was
Tim Jelly worth it. Only one game out of 4.
This is the thing. He's Tim Jelly when he's calling nice plays and everything's flowing well together. The run game's complementing the pass game. He's using motion, but he has been Tim Kelly ever since, and he's missing the peanut butter to his jelly. Let me just say that. I'm gonna write about that this week. I'm gonna leave y'all with that thought as for what I mean by that. But he's missing the peanut butter to his jelly, man, and he's not looking good right now. I'm not happy about it because I know he can do so much better with this offense. I know he can do better when Tyrod's back there and when the run game can actually do something. But it's not been a good showing for him, man.
Also, you know who's a free agent next season?
Who?
Mitch Trubisky.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! He's gonna rebuild his stock with the Bills, and some team is gonna take a chance on him.
Hey, it sounds like the Patriots' way.
Ryan, why you gotta put that dark thought into the back of my mind? I'm gonna be worrying about it all year.
We saw how he was against Chicago in their defense, and Chicago doesn't have a bad defense.
No, good defense.
Given it was preseason, but revenge game against a quarterback that you know what he can do, and you can't scheme against him.
I hope they don't go that way, man. I hear you. You're making good points, man. I'm just gonna hope and pray they don't.
Stock is gonna build up, especially if we can have him be the backup to Tyrod.
Oh, okay. You don't want him to start?
I think they're hit and Tyrod pretty similar skill sets. Trubisky is basically the poor man's Josh Allen. But I wouldn't mind him as a backup.
Okay. I thought you were talking about something.
And have fun, just keeps us, a little bit higher in the draft at that point.
Yeah.
But I don't like the QBs coming out of this draft. I don't want people to be saying we need to take one of these QBs out of this draft. We need to fix an O-line before we can even think about having a rookie quarterback.
Evan Neal is the answer. Left tackle out of Alabama. He's played left guard, right tackle, left tackle. I mean, if you can get a trade for Laramie Tunsil, go put Evan Neal at left tackle. He's way better in the run game.
First round. I need an early first round for Tunsil.
Me too. Me too. And I don't know if you're going to get that. I think you can get a first and a second, but it's probably going to be like a 20s, around the 20s that first. Because he's going to go to a contender, right? One of these top 10 teams isn't going to trade for a tackle at his age with his contract. It's going to have to go to a contender. So,
yeah.
But I hear you on the offensive line. I hear you on the quarterback class. That's the next thing I wanted to bring up is that, it's draft season. We 4 games into the season, but it's draft season, y'all. And put it in the chat.
I've been keeping up with it.
Oh, I got you. Put in the chat though. Which quarterback, if there even is a quarterback you want to draft, which quarterback do y'all want? Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Spencer Rattler, Sam Howell, Carson Strong. Who is it? Or you got a sleeper for me? Brian, I'm gonna start with you as the chat gets their answers in.
You know what? I'm gonna pull up my whole spreadsheet for this.
Pull it up.
Oh snap! GM fanatic pulling up
GM.
his.
No, dude, I've been working on this. I've been updating it with all the new draft boards coming out. So I update it like once every 2 weeks. And I have like 400 something guys ranked at this point.
Oof.
For those of y'all who don't know and who want to know why we're calling him GM fanatic, hit that join button.
Exactly.
Learn why.
Man,
Let's
does
see.
it all. Really does it all. In the chat we got Sam Howell. Ooh. Sam Howell, okay. Willis, Corral.
I'll leave Sam Howell in the 3rd round.
Damn. I think Sam Howell is the dangerous type of quarterback where he will always show you enough to make you keep wanting to invest in him. And he can be a top 16, 12 quarterback at his peak. But those guys don't win you Super Bowls. So
He can be a Kirk Cousins.
Exactly.
I think Kirk around him, the team's going to look amazing, but he's never going to receive the credit.
exactly. And he's always going to be
And
the scapegoat.
That's why I think he's the 3rd round. You're going to have to stack everything up around him so much. And he is more mobile than I initially thought he'd be. I think I'd add Gary Bohannon might be a quarterback to look at
Okay.
from Baylor. He's been playing better than now that Charlie Brewer's gone. He's starting. Bailey Zappi is one that started to be ranked. I went to HBU.
Mm-hmm.
He started to be ranked. He just threw over 400 yards in a single game against a ranked Michigan State.
He's Western Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen some good things about him.
Again, that'd be a very late round pick in my opinion. Still,
For sure, developmental guy. I want to hear your thoughts because this is a name that.
First round is Malik Willis, but that's about it.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
Matt Corral late first round.
Hey, Dan the man with the dono, and we got Nick Gregory as a subscriber. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Dan says Spencer Rattler been a baller since high school. Oof. Okay, we got 2 names I want to bring up on this conversation. First, I want to start with Desmond Ridder, who's been brought up in the chat.
I like Ritter, but I think I need to see more from him. And it's mainly I haven't been watching his game, so I'm not going to give someone an endorsement who I haven't been watching.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I've tuned in. I've watched, I think every game he's played so far except for one, but I've only seen like half the game roughly. Like I'll switch back and forth because there's so many freaking games going on Saturday, so I can't catch every single play. But what I have seen from Rattler is he reminds me so much of
Rattler.
or sorry, Ritter. What I see from him is Marcus Mariota. He's literally Marcus Mariota, where he can make plays with his legs for sure as a pure runner. Read option, he's dangerous in that sense. And he'll make a throw every now and then. That's like, wow, that's a great throw. And he's got solid velocity on the ball, but he's so damn inaccurate that quarterbacks in the NFL just can't be that inaccurate. Like he throws so many of these balls that are just 5 yards out of bounds, way above his receiver, way out in front of his receiver, behind, below. And that natural inaccuracy has not gotten much better over his career at Cincinnati. And this man's a senior. So if he's not getting better by his senior year, when is he going to get better? So I get the potential behind Ritter. I wouldn't touch him in the first round. I'd maybe go late second round. He's that type of guy to me. He's another one of those guys where you need everything around him to be perfect for him to succeed, because he's not very good at getting through his reads at a consistent level yet. And so, I don't know. I get the potential with him, and I think he makes a lot of, like, he makes 1 or 2 throws each game that are, like, highlight, like, wow throws. But the down-to-down inaccuracy, to me, is just, you can't have that, man. What are your thoughts on him, Ryan?
I think with Ritter, you have to look at it also through the lens of what did Josh Allen do in college? Constant overthrow. It wasn't that he was necessarily inaccurate. It was just he was constantly overthrowing. So when I hear inaccurate, I think it's hitting all over the place. Josh Allen was overthrowing guys. You talk about Desmond Ritter, he is inaccurate. That's not a quick fix.
Yep.
It took well over a season to fix Josh Allen. He was just overthrowing.
Titans lost. Let's go. Sorry. Keep going.
Oh, Titans lost?
Yes, sir. Tits are losing.
Hey. Makes me feel better about today. But at the same time, like, Ritter, I haven't seen all that much. Like, he can play at a high level. But I need to know how quarterbacks can handle the mental game against Alabama.
And that's the thing, is we're gonna have the rest of this college football season. Cincinnati's been playing very well. I think they're moving up into the top 5 in terms of ranking right now. So we should see a good amount more of them and more about Ritter. He'll probably be a guy who plays in the Senior Bowl. And so this is a long draft process. I say it's draft season right now, but it's really, really a long year in terms of gathering information on these guys. And so we'll get to see about Ritter. I think he's definitely a name to watch, but I'm not, ready to tank for him, ready to pull the trigger on him in the first round whatsoever. But with that,
we're at a place to take a quarterback in the first round. No matter how good they are, we're not in a place to do that. It's going to be a David Carr situation over again.
I hear what you're saying, and I have one rebuttal to that, but I will get to that in a second. After I thank Austin Salazar for coming and joining the Texans Loss team leaders. That means he can call into the stream, just like Ryan and Jay are talking to me right now. So welcome, my guy. Appreciate the support. I will get you added to the list for the next stream. And hope to hear from you soon. But he says, hey man, at least we got the Astros. Y'all are lucky. I ain't even a baseball fan, but y'all are lucky to have the Astros.
We also got a young Rockets team.
That's true. Jalen Green, KPJ.
Not looking for a title this year, but looking for, good rookies.
Yeah. I think y'all can
be happy.
I think y'all could make some noise, potentially make a play-in run, potentially. That's if like pretty much everything goes right,
Yeah.
But what was I saying? So you were saying
who's the other quarterback?
Oh yeah, I want to talk about Rattler for a second, but before I get to that, I think you were saying that, you don't really want a quarterback this year, right? You don't want to draft one? Because it's going to be a David Carr situation?
Not in the first round.
Okay, I hear you on that. My only rebuttal is if we do have multiple first-round picks, and...
If we have, 4 first-round picks, somehow...
I think we're going to have 2.
I'm not going to complain that if one of them is going to end up being a quarterback.
Yeah.
But if it's only 2 first-round... I say only 2. If it's 2 first-round picks... I think we have a lot bigger holes to take than quarterback. But if that's literally the BPA at the moment...
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Then I'm not going to be too upset.
That's what I think. And because my top 2 quarterbacks in this class are kind of boomer bust guys. Yeah. Malik Willis and Matt Corral. Very high...
Matt Corral, the guy who can throw 7 picks in one game. Or 7 touchdowns in one game.
Exactly. Yeah, he's cut that down this year, though. Now, he didn't look too hot versus Bama, but that's because Lane Kiffin is giving him the Tim Kelly treatment.
Look horrible against Bama.
No.
Which I think is more impressive. I wasn't looking for him to be looking like Bryce Young.
Yeah.
But he showed me he can handle a good amount of great defense.
Bama's got a lot of talent on the defense. A lot for sure. But my point here was that if you're going to take one of those guys... And those are pretty much the only quarterbacks I would touch in the first round, except for maybe Rattler later. But if you're going to touch Corral or Willis in the top 15, top 10, let them sit for a year, man. You have to let them sit for a year behind Tyrod. I think the Texans, and I guess this segues into my point with Spencer Rattler, is that the Texans are trying to build a situation where they can develop a quarterback, right? That's what they're trying to do with Davis Mills. But develop the quarterback with the high ceiling. Don't develop the quarterback who his ceiling can be, Andy Dalton in Mills. So if you develop a guy like Malik Willis, Matt Corral, Spencer Rattler, the guys who are very high variance, throw maybe not the best interceptions at times, are one read quarterbacks who like to scramble, who play in gimmicky offenses, stuff like that you hear about these three guys. Let them sit for a year. Let them sit behind Tyrod Taylor, who we have all praised so much. Let them sit and learn from Pep Hamilton, who we've all praised so much. Let us build the offensive line, add more weapons to Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks and Anthony Miller, and give that quarterback a chance. Give him the Patrick Mahomes treatment, man. Patrick Mahomes would have looked like hot trash if he started game one as a rookie and didn't get to learn behind Alex Smith. I guarantee it, because people forget how raw, how bad Patrick Mahomes was at times at Texas Tech. He threw some of the most horrendous interceptions I've ever seen. That's what made him so polarizing. But they gave him the time. He was a high boomer bust guy. They gave him the time, sat him behind a good quarterback coach, good veteran quarterback, and let him learn at his own pace. And so I think if the Texans want to take that route, they absolutely should with either Willis or Corral. But I agree with you, Ryan. Don't throw them to the fire because this team isn't ready yet. But you give them a year, then it could be ready for them.
And I think the NFL needs to go back to those days. It was like 2008, 2009 when first-round quarterbacks were starting to be like, oh, you have to play them. They were a first-round pick.
Yep.
And we need to go back to the days of, oh, you have a first-round pick for the future. You just invested in your future, not your next season, but going later on.
Yeah, man. I think so too, because we're seeing it around the entire league. It's not just the Texans that are struggling to help out a rookie quarterback. The Jets, Bears, oh my God, I can't think. Jaguars. And it's because college offenses right now, there's so little put onto the quarterback's plate. I mean, they don't have to make checks at the line. They don't have to call. They don't have really much say at all in play calling. They go look at the sideline. They go see them 4 signs pop up, and then they call the play and get it ready, right? So there's so little on their plate. So making that transition to the NFL, everything's going so fast for them, man, and it's hard. So Matty Reed says his question is, do you think it's worth passing on a quarterback this year and applying your logic to developing a quarterback to Mills, or have we seen him? I think he means like Mills, or have we seen enough? So that was my thing. Is like you said, the logic, exactly, the higher outcome, the higher ceiling. I'm willing to wait and develop a guy who I know can potentially be a Pro Bowler, potentially take us to a Super Bowl. I think it's been 2 games with Mills, but I feel like we've seen, his limitations athletically, arm-wise, and those types of guys who aren't elite athletes, who don't have elite arms, they need to be so good in the mental game to make up and supplement for those limitations, for those flaws. They need to be Tom Brady, Drew Brees level of outthinking the defense, knowing where to go with the ball before the snap, and having good pocket management as well. And Mills has not shown those qualities, in my opinion, to make us believe and say, hey, this guy's worth sitting for another year and letting him develop. I don't think he's shown that. So that's my thoughts on that, Maddie. We talked a lot about quarterback. I think Rattler was the last guy I want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with him, is that he will make a lot of good wow throws throughout the game, and then he'll make one just like, what are you doing? Like, it's infuriating because he's so much better than this, and he can play so much better than this. He can be, and that's the frustrating thing, because with quarterbacks, a lot of the time, what I'm trying to decipher is, do you have the intangibles? A lot of these guys are very similar in, between Willis, Corral, and Rattler, they all have the arm strength. They're all great athletes, but they're all raw as passers. So what's going to take you to the next level is your work ethic, your intangibles. Are you going to put in the work to take that next step and actually develop at the NFL? And Rattler,
in the freaking off-season, Rattler.
Exactly. That's the thing. We all wanted to see a step from Rattler. Cut out some of the bad decisions, the interceptions, the inaccuracy, and take that next step. And he hasn't done that. And so to me, that speaks to his hard-headedness to improve. His lack of willingness to improve, sorry. And that kind of pairs together with everyone's concerns that this is a cocky quarterback who thinks he's the best kid in the world and doesn't need to make any improvements. And so that's where I'm at with Rattler. It's a bit infuriating to watch. However,
I feel like if you watch Oklahoma this year, you could have just watched the tape from last year.
it's the same thing. It's the same dude.
All that's changed is his receivers and his own line, his play style, everything. He's still doing everything the same.
Yep. And maybe after seeing a season like this where he doesn't get the hype that he wants, he's not quarterback one, he's falling in the rankings, maybe that's what's going to push him to develop at the NFL level. That's what you'd have to hope if you're going to take a bet on him.
He also has another year of eligibility.
That's true. He could wait.
I think he should take. And I said this before. He should take that extra year of eligibility.
And bounce back. Yeah. I don't hate that idea. I don't know if he
Even
will.
If the grad transfers, even if he transfers schools, just it solidifies him as probably a better player, especially if he can show improvement. Because right now he's looking at second round at the best, with how he's playing.
Man, this man said Mills Mafia. Oh man. Matthew says, I don't disagree with you, but it was the Bills and the Panthers. Haha, I hear you. Competition's elite. Think it shows that the Texans are calling for quarterbacks, and these are the guys seeing him day in, day out. What? Oh, think it shows that. Okay, yeah. Maddie says, I think it was Benjamin Albright that tweeted it out, saying that the Texans this entire past week were sniffing around for other quarterbacks. And
oh yeah, Jay and I were talking about that before.
Yeah, man, and it shows that we've seen multiple instances now where the Texans don't trust Mills within the game, with how they're calling the plays, and with how they're operating the phones, sniffing around the league, looking for other guys. I mean, they know Jeff Driscoll ain't going to do much better, so you might as well throw Mills out there and see what he's got, see if he can prove the doubters wrong. But in my opinion, he hasn't. And I think Matty makes a great point that it's elite defenses, but teams are going to have, or quarterbacks have to play elite defenses like multiple times a year, every single time. And
we're not looking to try and make a playoff.
No, but
all the way.
Just be competitive and improve. And I don't think he's taken any steps from his last game versus the Panthers. I think he played worse. I think everyone can agree with that he played worse. Okay. And these guys are going to have to play elite defenses. That was my point. These guys are going to have to play elite defenses. And I think the people who wildly threw out that Davis Mills could be the next Andrew Luck, could be the next Tom Brady late round draft pick steal, whatever it is.
Tom Brady even had a season. So.
Exactly. But my point was that if they were going to be those, Pro Bowl, all-pro talents, we would have seen more flashes by now. We would have seen it happen against even the best teams. So, I don't know, man.
Some really good throws happen that were like, holy shit.
Yeah. Where are the wow throws?
And, hey, that's pretty good for a third rounder. We would have been questioning, is that a third rounder?
Exactly. And
I don't know. My standards for Mills right now are not that high. So, like, I'm not super disappointed in today because he's a third round quarterback with limited college experience.
Yep.
And he had constant pressure on the right side anytime he thought about throwing a ball.
Oh, Cannon gives me headaches.
So, like, my bar for him is pretty low, and he still didn't exactly hit it.
That's not what you want to hear, man. Yeah,
but,
man.
like, he's a rookie.
I just think we have to pump the brakes on the expectations, and I think Mills has done that for us with his play so far. Hey, thank you, Robert, for the $2. He says,
I don't want to make him play.
He says, make Deshaun play if he doesn't find his ass. I think what they're trying to do, it's such a delicate situation because the Texans don't want to make enemies of Deshaun Watson. And this is because at the end of the day, he has the no trade clause. The Texans have a lot of leverage in this situation, but at the end of the day, Deshaun has been very strong about his stance that, hey, it's the Dolphins. That's the only team I'm going to waive my clause for. Or that's the main team I'm going to waive my clause for. And so they want to no, I wouldn't say play nice, but they also don't want to piss him off even more in this situation because they want to work with him. They want to, hopefully talk him into thinking, hey, maybe Philly, like they're willing to send some picks and some players for you. How does Philly sound? And try and change his mind and just make it more of an easier trade to happen. They want more options because then they can use those other teams as bargaining chips versus all the competitors so that they can raise the trade price, right? So I think that's why they aren't finding him. I think that's why they're not making him play, and that's why they've essentially allowed the NFL to skirt not putting Deshaun on the exempt list because they're trying to play a bit nice. Exactly, man. So that's my thoughts on it. Whether it's the right thing to do, whether it's what I would do or not, that's not really what I'm going to touch on, but that's what I think they're doing. Whew, Joe Lee has a great point here, man. He has a great point here. He says, unleash Scottie Phillips and Brevin Jordan, man. I hear you.
I mean, I feel like at this point, there's probably a reason why we haven't seen Brevin Jordan. And I remember you saying tight end is probably one of the hardest positions to go from a rookie to the NFL.
It always takes an extra year.
And so, I think at one point we had to start giving Brevin actual experience in game. But at the same time, I want that experience to be with Tyrod.
That's fair. I hear you. You don't want to throw him out there, and Mills isn't even going to get him the ball anyways. Is that basically what you're saying?
Or if that's the case and all the design plays are going to be to the opposite side, at least have him do some route running and grade his route running against somebody,
Yeah. I hear you on Brevin. And Pat came on here the other day. Pat Storm said that Brevin might be the next Kahale, and that broke my heart.
Yeah, I know.
I hope not, man.
I really hope that he's Kahale in blocking right now, because that would make sense. We drafted him as a receiving tight end.
Yeah. He'll replace Jordan Akins next year. That's what I said when the pick happened. I said I like the pick because it's great value, but he's not a guy for this year. He's a guy for the future. Because Akins plays his exact role, and with how run-heavy our offense wants to be, we can't add a second tight end that's so bad at blocking already. Akins is already making enough mistakes in the run game. The run game is already so bad as it is. It needs that blocking from Pharaoh Brown and Anthony Auclair. So you can't bring in Jordan right now, man. But I think that's their reasoning behind it. That's why he isn't playing so far. But I think with the season not going as competitive as I think they wanted it to, with the only win coming against the Jags, at some point you have to embrace the youth, man. You have to embrace the youth. Got another dono.
I think we need to embrace the youth on later in the season.
Yep.
What do we have to lose? And someone said, what do we have to lose by signing Cam?
Rod's the starter. Do not sign Cam. One thing I'll say on that real quick. I know I've been quiet for a while. Do not sign Cam. It's not worth it. Yep. You're literally... We have one more game of watching this garbage crapshoot that we've been watching with Mills. And really, it hasn't been super garbage because he did not play bad against the Panthers. He started slow, but he didn't end badly. The Panthers were pretty good. There was also a bunch of missed calls in that game. I was there. I was like, are you serious? But signing Cam, that's a 1 week thing. You're overreacting if you're doing that. You got to calm down. And if we're gonna pick a quarterback in the first round, it's got to be Malik. He is playing exactly like
his ball placement.
His ball placement's been phenomenal. He's been playing great. He's accurate. He's on time. But he's playing like Lamar.
Yep.
And that's what this team is trying to play like. They're playing like the Ravens. Let's be honest. A run-first team that just beats you in the trenches. Our offensive line on the left side has been decent. And I guess we could say in the interior it's been pretty decent. It's the right side with Marcus Cannon that's been garbage. Move Sharping back to left guard. If we're going to keep Titus, we're going to keep Titus. Move him back to right guard. If we're going to keep Tunsil, keep him at left tackle. We just need a right guard. That's all we need.
You also need to draft a center for the future. But I like what I see from Britt, at least when it's down the field, and him getting there and trying to push a pile, right? Him getting there and giving an extra block at the last second. I like his effort at least. You know?
Yeah, I hear y'all both. On Cam, I don't think it's worth it either. Tyrod should be back, and yeah, maybe he'll get injured again, but there's
But
no
hey,
point in
higher
really,
draft.
yeah, there's no point in really being as competitive as we possibly can this year. There just isn't. Austin Salazar with the $5 dono. Thank you, my guy. And he says, how about Desmond Ritter from Cincy later in the draft? We talked about him a little bit. I'd like him in maybe the mid-late second. And then Kayvon Thibodeau with our first pick. Oof, we might have to be drafting first overall to get Kayvon Thibodeau because he's looking like the best player in the draft, the most valuable player in the draft. Between
You
him
know who I'd love to
and
pair
Kyle
up with
Hamilton.
just great though?
Kyle Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle
Tell me that
fucking
does not
Hamilton.
sound like a way to get Reed to look like he did his rookie year.
I think so
Getting
because the thing about safeties is safeties are valuable, but they're more of like they're not floor raisers, they're like ceiling raisers. You know what I mean? And so that's where Reed is a perfect example of that because when he was on that talented defense as a rookie with Tyrann Mathieu, with Kareem Jackson, with J. Joe, Watt, and someone else was Clowney still there that year? I don't remember exactly, but it was a very dominant pass defense, and Jay Reed could play safety and just kind of capitalize on everything else happening around him. He looked great. Now the past 2 years, he hasn't had that talent around him, so he
But
hasn't been able to raise our floor of the defense. But you put in Hamilton, like Ryan is saying, and he's got that partner in the secondary with him now to make plays off of. And Hamilton can do it all, man. Free safety, strong safety. He's been covering the slot a lot this year. I like Kyle Hamilton's safety out of Notre Dame for
he
sure.
also become a star linebacker for us almost.
He might, man. He might. He could play the star role, or he could just move to Will. He could bulk up and go to Mike. He can do a lot, man. He's a what's the word? A
He
Swiss
opened
Army knife.
He is Bill O'Brien's wet dream on a defense.
That versatility, though. That versatility, though. The only thing is about Kyle Hamilton is I don't trust Lovie Smith to use him correctly. I really don't. Maybe he can be the Mike that we need, but I don't know. Lovey ain't the guy. I saw another question that I want to say. Rick the Ruler 713 says, "How do you not have a plan B in case White shuts down Brandon Cooks?" There's no other weapons on this offense. There's no other weapons with Nico Collins out. Chris Conley is not that dude to separate. I think Anthony Miller did a decent job, but they couldn't find him. I don't know if that's Mills' fault. That's protection's fault. I got to go rewatch the game and see how often Miller was actually open downfield, but they couldn't find him, man.
But is that also just a scheme fault? Like rollouts to the right while Miller's on the left side of the field.
Yeah, I don't think
Like,
they do. One thing I've noticed is Tim Kelly's offense does not do a very good job of opening things up for their slot wide receiver. They really don't. They like the sidelines. They like to go to Cooks. We saw it last year with Fuller, D-Hop even. Like, they like their outside boundary wide receivers. They don't really utilize the slots too well.
Jahan Dotson.
Oof, we'll talk about that name another day. Cobb just scored a touchdown? Bruh. Can we draft the entire Bama offensive line? That'd be fire.
Honestly, if you want to know how to open up it's going to sound really bad. Someone that's in the slot or playing a slot-like role, look at Bama and Billingsley.
He's so skinny, man. He's a wide receiver.
He's really a wide receiver, just like Brevin Jordan really is. You don't see him with his hand in the dirt much in college.
Yeah, Billingsley's he's like Kelsey, but not as big, not as good of a route runner, in my opinion. But that's how you would
To me,
use
they're
him.
both just receivers who are oversized.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to have Brevin Jordan in the run game against an outside cornerback. I want to see that. I think you want to see that.
I think he can put some moves on him. But I think
I just
Brevins.
want him walking against an outside cornerback. I think that's what he can handle right now.
Yeah, that just don't really happen too much as a tight end. They got to deal with linebackers. They got to deal with safeties. They got to deal with defensive ends. But I agree with you. You go put his ass up against, who was it today? Levi Wallace or Trey White. He can do something. He puts in the effort.
Don't look like Michael Orr on the blind side.
Paving lanes. My boy Austin says, "You guys sure we won't get the first pick? Dot 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 dot." You know what? The Jags are still there. We can lose every game and still not get the number one. Hey, we gonna get guaranteed 2 dubs this year. One versus the Jags. The second versus the Jags. Yup.
Hey, we might be able to get a third with the Jets.
Yes, sir.
But you know what?
Probably steal one from the Titans as well. I mean, they aren't playing well. If you can put bodies on,
Derrick Henry.
put bodies on Henry, that's their offense.
Yeah, it's weird that they haven't been able to make Julio Jones and AJ Brown work.
Well, Julio Jones and AJ Brown were also out today.
Also, Tannehill is not got. He doesn't have a cannon.
Nope.
He's a touch QB.
Yeah.
So that's what our defense feasts on. As we saw, every time Josh Allen threw it with touch today, he almost a pick. We were there. So that's just we can steal one from the Titans, at least one.
Something I heard while watching the Baylor game yesterday was the Big 12 is made to beat other Big 12 teams. The AFC South is made to beat other AFC South teams. They're not made to go out and beat other conferences. They're not made to go and beat other divisions. We're made to beat ourselves.
Let's go beat up on them Jags then, man. I need to see another dub. Wash this bad taste out of my mouth. Man.
Let's go watch the first half of that Browns game.
Just have that on repeat. Yes, sir. Tyrod Taylor going like 10 for 10. Oof. Alrighty, y'all. It was good talking to you, Ryan. Good talking to you, Jay. Appreciate y'all. I'll catch you later in the Discord. I'm going to end the stream here, so I'm going to hop out of this Discord call. But talk to y'all later. Alrighty, y'all. Alrighty, stream. That's going to do it for me, man. I appreciate all the support for today. The new donos, the new members, the new subscribers. I'll have a video later this week breaking down some things. I mean, you guys know how I like to watch the film and give y'all more thoughts. I'll see, how bad was Mills really? Was the play calling more to blame? Was it the offensive line? Was it Mills? I'll probably get that out kind of later than I would like to, Thursday, just because I have 2 midterms this week, Tuesday and Wednesday. But yeah, man, this Texans should do no huddle. It would be a lot more helpful if they could go up tempo. That would be for sure helpful. O-line play got worse every week. They really did, man. So you say we are good at beating ourselves. We definitely are. Too many penalties today. A lot of mistakes. The execution just wasn't there at all. I think that was a bigger detriment than the play calling, in my opinion. But it is what it is, man. It's draft season. Follow me on Twitter for college football stuff. And I'll see y'all later in the week. Hope you guys have a good week. Take care, y'all. Come back for more. Peace.